Here's the weekly crop report for June 29th, 2021 for the Northwest region. There were scattered isolated showers through the Northwest region last week, with the exception of pockets in the region, as well as Roblin and the Paw areas where 13 millimeters fell. There were no significant accumulations. Daytime temperatures were over 25 degrees Celsius, however nighttime temperatures were cool and dropped to single digits. Strong winds continue to be an issue through this week, causing stress and damage to crops, blowing fields, and posing challenges to pesticide applications. Soil moisture conditions have deteriorated further this week and are a continued concern. Spring cereals across the region are mostly in the flag leaf stage, with heads emerging in the earlier seeded fields. Cereals are rated at 80% in good condition, as they have been better able to withstand the challenging spring conditions. Yield potential of the cereal crop is still positive. Winter wheat and fall rye are heading out in the Roblin area. There are winter wheat fields in the Dauphin area already starting to turn color. The pea crop is starting to flower, and it's shorter than average due to dry conditions, but crop density remains high. The forecasted extreme heat during flowering is a potential issue. Canola across the region is in various stages and generally is in poor to fair condition, as it's showing the effects of insect feeding, dry conditions, spring frost, and wind. Most of the canola is in the late rosette stage and starting to bolt. The exception are those fields that were reseeded or seeded late, and these fields are in the seedling early rosette stage. Flea beetle feeding, dry conditions, and cutworm damage is becoming more noticeable as the season progresses. Herbicide and fungicide applications continue as correct crop stage is reached and conditions allow. The continuous strong winds and intermittent showers across the region have made spraying a challenge. Bertha armyworm monitoring continues across the region. Cumulative trap count numbers remain low. Damage from flea beetle feeding is becoming more apparent with bare spots in fields. Grasshopper feeding is a concern on pastures and cereals. Alfalfa crops are progressing rapidly, with most fields in the early bloom stage. Alfalfa silage and first cut hay harvest has begun on the eastern side of the Dauphin area. Yields are expected to be lower due to dry conditions. Grasshoppers continue to be a problem. Pastures are holding out, however require more moisture to continue growth. Water supplies are low. Corn silage crops are also growing rapidly with the heat and moisture that was received to date throughout the area. Now the southwest region. Normal daytime highs arrived this week as temperatures ranged from 28 to 30 degrees Celsius, but nighttime lows were cooler, dropping to 2 to 6 degrees. Average daily temperatures were 17 degrees over most previous week. Crop growth has improved significantly, but lack of moisture hindered the yield potential in most crops. Thunderstorm systems brought some rain to the southwest over the past week and on the weekend. Melita, Reston, and Boissevain had 25 to 30 millimeters of rain, with less falling further north. Pocket areas close to Rapid City got 40 to 50 millimeters of rain on the weekend. Many districts can use more moisture as crops are progressing rapidly, using up all of the available moisture. All crops are shorter than normal, and the majority of crops have suffered from dry and cold conditions in early spring, sometimes frost, and in many cases, insect pressure. Patchy germination is evident in all crops. Most crops are stagey. Early seeded cereal crops are starting to head, and in most cases are shorter than normal. Dry conditions and heat affected tiller development and overall yield. Later seeded cereals are in the flag leaf stage. Little to no fungicide application is occurring as conditions right now are not favorable to disease. Overall, 40% of wheat crops are rated excellent, 40% rated good, and 10% of cereals are in poor conditions due to dry weather conditions in the southwest. Peas and flax have fairly even stands and are progressing well. Flax looks very good. Most fields are even, but short. Peas also shorter than normal and flowering. Fungicide applications have begun. Early seeded canola is at flowering or starting to bolt. Several fields are very uneven because of cool conditions and flea beetle damage. Heat over the next few days will have an impact on early seeded crops. Later seeded crops are cabbaging out. Most soybeans are at the third trifoliate or higher. Majority of fields are very short. As with all crops, stands are stagey due to early dry and cold conditions. Some interveinal chlorosis has been noted. Second pass herbicide applications will soon wrap up in soybeans. Applications have been delayed due to slow canopy closure and low weed pressure. Nodulation is occurring and flowering will start soon. Most corn, both grain and silage, has improved in both growth and color. Flea beetle pressure has been lowering considerably. Canola is finally beyond the susceptible stage. Grasshoppers are being monitored closely. Diamondback moth numbers are still low. Traps will be removed this week. Bertha armyworm counts are low. Some producers have started haying. First cut looks to be below average, however, weather conditions are making very good quality feed. Recent rains have helped pasture, but early overgrazed pastures are not looking good. Grasshoppers are starting to cause problems in some areas. Dugouts are 50 to 70% full. In some areas, producers have started to haul water to supplement pasture water sources. And now for the Interlake region, limited crop report data is available for the region for the week of June 16th to 22nd. Winter cereals are fully headed out, while some spring wheat is just starting to head and flower. The balance is still jointing. Wheat, barley, and oats are rated as 70% good to 25% fair. Peas are flowering with good crop stands, though shorter than normal. Pea fields are 15% excellent to 80% good, 5% fair. Canola crops have improved somewhat, starting to cabbage over and beginning to bolt. Canola has improved to 65% good, the remainder fair. Soybean fields now have visible rows end to end, and the earliest crops are beginning to flower. Most crops are V2 to V3. Flax crops are more uneven and stands thinner due to water and temperature stresses. Sunflowers are shorter than normal, reaching the 8-leaf pear V8 stage. Cornfields have improved and are progressing well, but some fields look noticeably drought-stressed with spindly, rolled leaves. Crop conditions improve moving south in the region, where greater rainfall has improved crop growth. Patchy or uneven crops noticeable throughout the region. Alfalfa weevil is causing significant damage in some areas. Some insecticide spraying is occurring. Spraying for lygus bugs and aphids is also occurring in alfalfa seed crops. Grasshoppers are hatching at hay, pastures, and roadsides, with some farmers choosing to spray whole fields or just the margins. Feeding pressure is increasing, but damage is lower in pastures with established legumes and shaded low areas with longer morning dews. Surface water is very limited in much of the northern Interlake. Wells for livestock water are being drilled in the north Interlake, where dugouts in pastures have run dry. Rain is needed imminently for forage growth. Livestock producers are facing feed and pasture shortages in the northern parts of the Interlake, particularly on poorer soils. Haying has started. Yields are lower than normal. Most timothy seed crops are in poor condition due to frosts and drought, and may be converted to hay.